Cleveland branch. I want to start off, of course, giving our honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakodash, Washanakabah, Lahazaquim, Sha'agadar Shalom to the elect. And I just want to get right into it, with a couple of scriptures that prove Esau is still around. All right. This is the book of Genesis chapter 25 and verse 20. Let's start at verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. All right, so the Lord was telling Rebecca that she was pregnant with twins, and it was two different nations. You know what I'm saying? Because all nations sprung out of Noah. You know what I'm saying? And his eight. I'll just say Noah. But Noah wasn't delivered by itself, but it says, but that's where all the nations came out of. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Abraham. You know what I'm saying? And Abraham, he ended up, having sons. But, I mean, it was always people around. I want to correct that. It was always people around. Even during the time of Adam, you know what I'm saying? You had people that was around during that time before he was even born. You know what I'm saying? But, but the nation of Israel come out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? But this specific nation, Esau, you know what I'm saying, staying on the topic, they don't come out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? He was just Jacob's brother. That was like the last split that the Lord made come out of, that seed of Abraham. You know what I'm saying? It was Abraham, and, then the seed came out, the righteous seed came out of Jacob. Before, then it came out Jacob, then it came out, Jacob's sons, and then it, including, you know, Manasseh and Ephraim father. You know what I'm saying? Which was like the last two tribes. You know what I'm saying? Um, so Esau, he was like their uncle. You know what I'm saying? So um, he was their father's brother. But I'm gonna keep reading. It says, and the Lord said unto her, I'm sorry. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. All right, so that's talking about Jacob being stronger than Esau. All right, which you see Esau in a position of power. He been blessed with a sword, but that's a temporary blessing as far as ruling on earth. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say Jacob is one people shall be stronger than the other. You know what I'm saying? Because the nation of Israel is going to rule forever, but Esau is going to rule temporarily. All right. It says, and the elder shall serve the younger. Right. That's going to happen. That haven't happened in in this captivity. You know what I'm saying? You seen a glimpse of that. You know what I'm saying? When Esau got taken down, he got scattered out into the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I'm saying? But that's talking about, the time that we coming into. You know what I'm saying? Which is after the chip, after the Third World War, after Yahweh Shah come back. That's what the scripture is talking about. It's twofold, but the scripture be twofold, but that's what the scripture is talking about. I want to say, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right, because Esau's gonna serve Jacob in the kingdom. It says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, right? Just like the Lord said. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Right, so, which is Ashashwa, which means wasted away is he. Right, his pigmentation was red. He didn't come out looking like Ammo, you know. But he was red. Like, man, he ain't had really had no pigmentation. I mean, no, I mean, probably had pigmentation. Everybody was black in the ancient times, so he probably did. But you know what I'm saying? That's you know, that's you know, that's just his skin condition. You know, melanated people. Well, I'm just keep reading the scriptures. It says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. All right, so um, Jacob held the heel of Esau. You know, it was struggling in the womb. You know, it was fighting going on while while she was getting ready to give birth. You know, or whenever. And that's what we dealing with today. It's constant friction between Jacob and Esau, or between the heathens and the Israelites across the four corners of the earth. It's constant friction. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" You know, and these nations, Jacob and Esau, is going to see a drastic turn. You know what I'm saying? As far as any type of covenants or anything like that, because um, one nation is a righteous nation, and then one nation is a wicked nation. You know what I'm saying? And that's not how Yahushua is going to be ruling on the earth. You know what I'm saying? When Yahushua start ruling on the earth, it's only going to be Yahushua. It's only going to be Israel. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, you know, the other nations is going to get some power in their own land. You know, but it's only the Lord ain't gonna be ruling while Esau ruling. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 20 and verse. It says Revelation 20 and verse saying that's not what I'm looking for. But the scripture talk about how the dead ain't gonna live again. to the second. Let me see. This is this. This the book of Revelation, chapter 20, and verse. I'll start at verse. So let's get straight to the point, verse 5. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection, right? So, that's talking about the heathen nations. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be able to live in, in their own land and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying, until they serve 1,000 years alongside of Esau, you know what I'm saying, was gonna die after his 1,000 years. But the rest of the heathen ain't gonna live again, meaning the rest of the heathen ain't gonna be able to live their lives, you know what I'm saying, until they finish that 1,000 years of servitude under the Israelites, right? All right, so that's and in that time span we gonna be populating. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be having the 2/3, you know, come back into the earth. You know what I'm saying? And Esau is gonna be getting his ass whipped. You know what I'm saying? That whole period of time. All right. Make sure to say reward her double. All right. So I want to get to the book of Obadiah. All right. This is the book of Obadiah. Chapter 1 and verse. I'll start at verse 3. It says, "The heart of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" All right, so the next verse is gonna let you know what it's talking about. All right, he from verse 3 you can already tell that he's proud. You know what I'm saying? He's you know what I'm saying, mighty. You know what I'm saying? Which if you line that up with, you know what I'm saying, the characters that you got in the world today, you know what I'm saying, that's how Esau is. You know what I'm saying? He's the main one boasting his pride. You know what I'm saying? He acts like the hammer of the earth. You know what I'm saying? You know, his his agenda is guns blazing. You know what I'm saying? To get what he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's the blessing of this word. You know, so verse 4 it says, "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle," right? And the eagle being used as an idol, you know what I'm saying, for heathen nations, you know what I'm saying, for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? Even before, if I'm not mistaken, even before the time of Egypt, I think the Grecians might, even before the time of Rome, so like it, even before the time of Rome, the Grecians might have been even using that idol. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna keep reading, right? So and what does Esau do today? You know what I'm saying? He uses the same, you know what I'm saying, idols. You know what I'm saying? And idols of the other nations, right? So he exalt himself like an eagle. You know what I'm saying? You know, it says, if these, I'm gonna jump down to verse 12. It says, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother and the day that he became a stranger, right? A foreigner. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I'm using an example. During the time of 70 AD, guess what? We had to flee from Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? It was a raiding. You know what I'm saying? And you had other times where the temple been, tampered with. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord, you know what I'm saying? Esau has always been trying to get in the mix. You know what I'm saying? As far as like trying to take Jacob down. You know what I'm saying? And this is an example of that is when I think that's in Psalms 137, but Esau, when the Babylonians was you know taking Jake down, Esau was helping. Right? Psalms 137 and verse 7, it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, right? In the day of Jerusalem, when the temple was being, ransacked and different things like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, I know, you know, I forget what scripture that is, but I know that the Babylonians took down, you know what I'm saying, the Israelites, and they left, if I'm not mistaken, they left Jerusalem empty. You know what I'm saying? They took all of the superstars, if you will. They took all of the mighty men. I forget what scripture that is, but you know what I'm saying. Everybody was basically captured. You know what I'm saying, and sent to Babylon, right? And Esau helped, right? And what you see that happening this time was, you know what I'm saying. We went to slavery on slave ships, and guess what? The other nations, Esau had the other nations helping. You know what I'm saying? You don't think uh, Ishmael got his hands in that? You know what I'm saying? These nations, these heathen nations. You know what I'm saying? Who Jake is joined hand in hand with. You know, it says going back to Obadiah, verse 12 again. It says, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Right? So, you know what I'm saying? He was supposed to speak proud, Um, he wasn't supposed to help them capture him. He wasn't supposed to, snitch, and basically, rejoice at the downfall of Jacob. Verse 13, but not only did Esau rejoice, but he helped. It says, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Right, and Esau, during the time of the Grecian Empire, what he was doing, he was, you know what I'm saying, doing all type of vile things in the temple. He was bringing swine's flesh within the temple. Probably was even doing even other gross stuff like peeing around, you know what I'm saying, pissing on the walls and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is jumping on to verse 16. Let me get straight to the point. We'll get to verse 18. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire." Let me start verse 17. It says, "But Mount Zion shall be deliverance." Right. You know what I'm saying? Starting with Yahweh Shah. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to deliver His elect. It says, "And there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions." All right, so the house of Jacob is going to possess their possessions, meaning you're going to bring the riches to the Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? Through the gates, through the holy gates, to the new kings of the earth. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna bring your wives and children. I mean, you're gonna be your daughters and sons. Um, and you're gonna bring whatever you got, slaves, cattle, everything that's on the earth. You're gonna have to bring it to the Israelites, and we're gonna divide the spoil, man. You know what I'm saying? And the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi is gonna possess the lands of Edom. You know what I'm saying? Lord gonna put us back and put Israel back in the Holy Land, and Judah, Benjamin, Levi gonna possess the lands of Edom, according to the scriptures. All right, so you ain't gonna have no nation. Well, yeah, you ain't. I'm gonna just say it, but I'm gonna read the scripture. But you ain't gonna have no nation, and you ain't gonna have no land. It says, which you already don't have no land. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures called Esau a vagabond. You know what I'm saying? You know he steals and leeches everything that he get his hands on. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them." Right? They shall kindle in them, like that movie Brightburn. You know what I'm saying? You just grabbed his head and just shot the laser beams through his eyes. You know what I'm saying? um, you ain't gonna have to use no type of uh, device like carnal device in order to take the nation of Esau out. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like gods destroying, you know what I'm saying, a mere mortal. You know, it says, and the house of Esau for stubble, right? So that goes for the whole house of Esau, the whole temple of Esau, the whole nation. You know what I'm saying? Because you got different tribes within the nation of Esau. You got Edom, which in the Hebrew is Adawam. That's the so-called white man. Then you got other ones like I always use the other example, Magog, Russia. Um, right, so that's just a few that I know. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. The Lord is gonna, you know, take your whole house out. You know, so I just want to sit here and just Name all the nations that's gonna be taken out. That's Edomite nations. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter which one you is. You know, you all gonna be taken out. You know what I'm saying? And the earth and the other nations is gonna rejoice at that. You know, that fall, and they did. But the scriptures say that there's no end of the people. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't just gonna, you know what I'm saying, wash away forever. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's gonna go into the other nations. So that's what's gonna happen after Obadiah 1 and verse 18. It says, "And devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh has spoken it." All right, so it's not going to be any remaining of the house of Esau. All right, meaning it's sayonara. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be over with. You know, the Lord is going to, for one, overkill America with missiles and laser beams, and the people is going to be the fuel of the fire. And also, after 1,000 years of captivity under uh, gods, basically Israelite gods, that's gonna whip you to death 24/7 in the field. Um, you basically gonna be wiped out forever. You know, so that's the inheritance of Esau. You know what I'm saying? The only mercy that he's really gonna receive from that is the fact that he's just gonna go into the other nations. You know what I'm saying? Afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So you just live in peace, you know what I'm saying, as a heathen. You know, let's go to the book of Zechariah, I mean Zephaniah. Chapter 3 and verse 13, it says the remnant, because remember the scripture that we just read was Genesis 23, and no, I'm sorry, it might have been like 25 or 26, but it said that the elder shall serve the younger. All right, it said before that verse, it said one nation shall be stronger than the other. All right, so Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 13, huh? Yeah, it says, verse 13, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity. Right? The remnant, talking about the elect, you know what I'm saying? Those that's preserved of the nation of Israel. Nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. For they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid, not even you, Esau. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why Esau is going crazy out of his mind, because the Lord has an elect that, you know what I'm saying, nobody or anything can really do anything about. You know what I'm saying? You know, the elect belongs unto the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord is going to deliver them in whatever way that he wants to deliver them. You know what I'm saying? And that drives Esau crazy, because Esau, you got to think that he still thinks that he can offset prophecy. You know what I'm saying? He's not a sane, you know, man, and uh he's a what's the word I'm looking for? He's a carnal man. You know what I'm saying? And so he can't receive the discernment of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? He can't. You know, which you know Esau. You know, he know about the prophecies. That's why he trying to shut the Israelites down. You know what I'm saying? The true ones. You know what I'm saying? You got all of these different Israelites coming out here doing bugged out stuff. You know what I'm saying? PEG'd and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Then turn around and say, hey, I'm not an Israelite. Should have been said that, you know what I'm saying? But, all of these people getting bugged out by Esau, but we simply just know, you know what I'm saying, who this devil is, man. You know what I'm saying? And respect this devil. We don't respect, no respect the person. We don't respect him, but I'm just using that for example. Just we see him for who he is. You know what I'm saying? And Jake just, joined hand in hand with this devil. You know what I'm saying? And when you join hand in hand with this devil, you know, you gotta comply, in different ways, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we gonna apply with this devil by, what I'm saying, coming out the scriptures, you know. So, right, so none shall make them afraid. You know what I'm saying? So we don't even have to worry about Esau being a sword, because that's all Esau wants to do is just kill, murder, steal, rob, and just do the same pattern over. You know what I'm saying? And this is his way to get through the earth. You know what I'm saying? So why would the Lord want somebody to rule like that on the earth? Right? But the Lord did that, you know what I'm saying? So that we can, for our benefit, really. You know what I'm saying? That's really for our benefit. Because now we know good and evil. Just the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth is given to you. The earth is given to you. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord eventually is going to take it back. Matter of fact, let's go to Jeremiah. Because the Lord is using you. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 50. Jeremiah chapter 50. And verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. I think it's 51. Yeah, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right, so, you know what I'm saying? The nations have drunk of the wine, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that philosophy, and you have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. The Lord is using you. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's just, so really it's like the Lord's evil plan. It's like, you know, beyond all of your evil thoughts and devices, you know what I'm saying? The Lord is truly the one that's in power, because he it's almost like he caused, you know what I'm saying, the nations to drink of her philosophy, and ultimately the Lord caused this world to be in a state that it's in now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So really it's not even Esau. You know, it really go back to the Lord. Right? Now let's go to back to Job. Let's go to verse 24. Now we're about to get to the nitty and gritty. and his devil. So Job chapter 24 and verse 1. Let me start at verse 3. Oh, yeah, let's start at verse 1. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they know him not? It says, it says, why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? Right? Right, so, and that's what Esau does. He likes to keep doing shit, keep doing sins, just like he know that, what I'm saying, the Lord ain't gonna do something to him or touch him, you know what I'm saying? But the scriptures say that the Lord would not hold his tongue anymore as touching their wickedness. You know what I'm saying? You got the prophets out here exposing, this devil for who he is. And I want to go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Um, it's right here. Chapter 8 and verse, I think it's 10. Okay, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. All right, so, the heart and the son of man, you know what I'm saying, specifically this type of human, which is, the son of the wicked, you know what I'm saying, his heart is fully set in him to do wicked. Even in the kingdom, he's going to be still, you're going to have to whip him into place, you know what I'm saying? He's going to be trying to do abominable things, such as, eating pork, you know. Um, you can't get much more wickeder than that, you know what I'm saying? Um, but that's how the heathen operate. They you know, it's almost like it's okay for them to do these type of wicked things, but that's why the earth got to um, get put back into order so that they can get into order, man. It says Job 24 and verse 2. Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away flocks and feed thereof. All right, he'll take away your flock and feed itself. You know what I'm saying? This is the devil we're speaking of. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge, right? You just walk up to the cattle of a person that ain't got no father. You know what I'm saying? And our ultimate father is the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Israel have been seen plenty of times in a state on the earth where they ain't got no power. You know what I'm saying? For example, right now, you know what I'm saying? Our people walk around like they ain't got no power. Like how about Shah? It's not their power. It's like they completely disconnected from the spirit. That's what's going on. It says they drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the desert go they forth to their work, rising betimes for a prey. That's their work to be before the prey. You know what I'm saying? Esau is a cunning hunter. You know, um, it says the poor of the earth hide themselves. Or let me jump down to verse 9. Jump down to verse 12. Men groan from out of the city, and the soul of the wounded crieth out. Yet Yahweh layeth not folly to them. And just imagine, you know what I'm saying, Esau just shredding the town down, like massacring, you know what I'm saying, and just random people, you know what I'm saying. You almost would have thought that they was innocent, you know what I'm saying. You know, they just die, you know what I'm saying. You know, just get everybody in the party get shot. Or this is the type of energy that goes back to Esau. You know what I'm saying? uh, verse 13. They are of those that rebel against the light. You got a spirit that the scriptures say uh uh they go astray from the womb, right? Speaking lies. You know, it's like the spiritual uh it's like the spirit is just blocked from his being, you know what I'm saying? Um like, you know, that's how the Lord made him. It says they know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. The murder arising with the light killeth the poor and needy. And in the night is a thief. The eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me, and disguiseth his face. Right? He's an adulterer. You know what I'm saying? He would, that's what he was doing during our captivity. He was raping the women, raping some of the women. You know what I'm saying? And showcasing it in some cases. Uh, the adulterer, right? This type of stuff ain't gonna be going on in the kingdom. It's gonna be holiness. This is verse 15. The eye the eye also the adulterer waited for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me, and disguise of his face. All right. I'm not gonna go back to the scripture, but going back to the scripture in Job 9:24, uh, the earth is in the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right, so that's the spirit that come with Esau. If not, where and who is he? You know what I'm saying? He's hiding himself. You know, he disguises his face. That's what was the whole point of the Renaissance. You know, the period in time where Esau, got his hands on, you know what I'm saying, the icons of the nation Israel at the time they was ruling, right, during the Dark Ages, and he knocked off the Israelite noses off of those icons, right, just to disguise the fact that he lied about you know what I'm saying, ruling during the Dark Ages, all right. So that's what that was all about, man. It was about disguising itself. You know what I'm saying? If you go out there on the highways and byways and you talk about this devil being who he is, that's basically him being exposed. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do at GMS. Um, Job chapter 24 and verse 16. In the dark they dig through houses, which they have marked for themselves in the daytime. Right here, watch. You know what I'm saying? He'll watch you like an eagle. You know what I'm saying? You know, he'll literally watch you, and then he'll wait until the nighttime and do his dirt. All right. It says, "With which they have marked for themselves in the daytime, they know not the light, for the morning is to them even as the shadow of death." All right. Once again, like the scriptures say that they rebel against the light. You know what I'm saying? If it's any spiritual thought of, you know what I'm saying, maybe we shouldn't raid these people, you know what I'm saying, or maybe we shouldn't, you know what I'm saying, try to make a peace treaty, a real peace treaty with them, you know what I'm saying, or a real peace covenant with them. Esau ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying, back down from doing ill intent, you know. And that's why the world is in the condition that it's in, because it's constant conflict with this man in power. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna do whatever he can to stay in power, and while trying to destroy the earth in the process. You know what I'm saying? With constant warfare. You know what I'm saying? We know that the scriptures is true. The scriptures are gonna come to pass when the scriptures talk about the third world's war coming quickly. Because as long as this devil at rulership, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be a quick conflict with this devil. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a constant conflict. All right. It says right, and another example besides the Renaissance of this devil, you know what I'm saying, hiding himself, disguising himself, is what him saying that he's a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Him saying that he's amongst the nation of Israel. You know, was that's a lie. You know, that's blasphemy against the scriptures. That's adding to the scriptures. All right. It says let me jump down to verse. Well, I'll jump down to verse. I'm gonna keep reading verse 17. For the morning. Well, let me. Verse 18. He is swift as the waters. Their portion is cursed in the earth. He beholdeth not the way of the vineyards. Right, and this is a good scripture. You know what I'm saying? I see three different things. You know, first it say he is swift as the waters. You know what I'm saying? Using examples. That's what he was doing during when Alexander the Great was ruling. You know what I'm saying? He was conquering pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? That's why in the book of Daniel it talk about the Grecians being a leopard, because how quick they conquered. I can go back to First Maccabees. I think he ruled for 12 years. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, then he died or something like that. I'm gonna keep reading. First Maccabees 1 and 2. It says, talking about Alexander, son of Philip, Alexander the Great. It says, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Talking about Alexander the Great, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations. Let me jump down. Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, right? Because he fell sick after all that warfare. You know what I'm saying? The Lord made him fall sick and he died. You know what I'm saying? And uh, going back to Job chapter 24, right? So that's just an example of he's swift as waters. You know what I'm saying? And Esau nowadays he got drones. You know what I'm saying? So you can just send 1,000 drones down your block and just You know what I'm saying? Detonate all of them. You know, through the windows or something. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it says their portion is cursed in the earth, right? So, you know, look at how the earth is reacting to him ruling. You know what I'm saying? You know, the earth is really in a low condition. You know what I'm saying? It's in a very low condition. Our human bodies is in low conditions. We was mightier in the ancient times. This is like the most fucked up the earth has ever been. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's all these earthquakes and stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Really, because the Lord coming back to judge this man. This is It says, yes, their portion is cursed in the earth. You know what I'm saying? Look like using another example of that, like it seems like rivers is getting more filthier. You know what I'm saying? And you know you got some rivers even drying up. You know what I'm saying? That's his portion of being a king on the earth. Those are signs. You know, you're not gonna see the earth getting messed up and jacked up like that while somebody righteous is ruling. It just won't happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's this man. Let's go back to this man. Tearing up people land and stuff like that. You know, um, and playing a good guy. You know, it says he beholdeth not the way of the vineyards, right? And guess what? The scripture say he shall think to change ordinances and times, right? So he's not keeping the Sabbath day rest. You know what I'm saying? He's not, uh, he's not taking heed to the ways of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to keep the earth healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you keep the Sabbath day, you're going to allow plants to rest. You know what I'm saying? You're going to allow, women to rest, you know, and, you know, the way he's ruling is just constant, you know, work, 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 just like a hammer. You know what I'm saying? Just like a hammer that goes back and forth 24/7 and it doesn't even pace itself. You know what I'm saying? So that's why his portion is cursed in the earth. You know what I'm saying? You know, he doesn't even care how the earth is supposed to be properly handled, right? It says drought and heat consume the snow waters. Let me see. Let me jump down to verse. Let me get down to verse 22. It says, "He draweth also the mighty with his power. He riseth up, and no man is sure of life." All right, he got a lot of nations in a beat up state. You know what I'm saying? He be attacking smaller nations. You know what I'm saying? And you know, making them look like the enemy. It says, though it be given him to be in safety, right? Whereon he is resteth, whereon he resteth, right? So he, though it be given unto him to be in safety, right? That's where you resting. Yet his eyes are upon their ways; they are exalted for a little while, right? So there you go. You're temporary. You know what I'm saying? For a little while. It say they are exalted for a little while. So that's how long you're going to be You know what I'm saying? In power. You know, it's for a little time. It says, but are going and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all other and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so, right, so you're going to be cut off, man. You know, like we just reading Obadiah 1 and verse 8, you know what I'm saying? The house of Esau is going to be a stubble, right? So you're the only nation in the scriptures where the scriptures talk about being cut off, right? But this is what he wants to do to Jacob. He wants to cut Jacob off, Jacob ass off, right? It says, and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so now, who will make me a liar and make my speech nothing worth? Right? So Job knew who Esau was. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's why he was speaking about him. You know what I'm saying? This devil, and he's much more manifest in this time. You know, as being the devil that he is, man. You know, he's being exposed. The scriptures say he shall make his own tongue to fall upon him. You know, so he's even being exposed by his own people. His own people is learning that they Edomites and acknowledging that they Edomites, and they basically waking up in the truth like an Edomite, the Edomite version. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you're basically just waiting on the Lord's destruction. You know, that's a messed up life to live. Is just to wait on your destruction, man. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord is gonna Isaiah 63 and 1 Basra, right? You know, so we can go into the word Basra, it's a land in Edom. You know what I'm saying? It's a town in Edom. And this is a town amongst the nation of Edom, right? And the Lord is gonna bash it to pieces, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna end it with that, you know. Lord's willing us to edify to the lake member. The water, how about you, give me a spiritual lesson. Till next time, I say Shalom, Kwame Charlotte.